Hello everyone, it's Giraffe. Today I wanted to talk about my competitive team that I use for the Archtamers. So just a brief overview of who I am. I do love to play PvP, I have over 1000 wins. I haven't played too much this season, I was mostly playing in the Kinu season where I reached 1600 TMR. I'm definitely by far not the best PvP player, but I do love creating my own teams and I have a general different playstyle. And I have this squad, my main competitive team with Ryken. This is what I use for most of my Dojo rematches, for my holo battles at the Dojo parks and the Archtamers, which you might have seen my video where I won and someone asked me to talk about my team, so I will do that today. So here is the team in general, just a quick overview. We have a Sconch, sorry, its name is Scale, but it's Sconch, Tirerneck, Kinu, Ryken, Koran, Minothor, Volfi, and Vangs. Now, there are a couple of synergies here. So, for example, I have Haste Launch synergy, I have Meteor Swarm synergy, I have Stoneball synergy, I have Sparkling Bullet, I have Quetzalcoatl synergy. So there's a lot of potential synergies that I can do. And I will go over each individual tem with their TVs as well. So let's start with Scale. I do have the bait item. It gives Invigorated and Immune. And I play a pretty bulky Sconch. It doesn't have any speed investment. It's a bit quite rough. I just did it quickly, but I do mostly HP, some defenses. It has very high defense and some attack, and enough stamina to go for 81. Especially with bait, it can stay in the field a long while. And I use Perfect Jab, Stonewall Savage, and Oshi. I know Ninja is quite popular, but I prefer to go to Stonewall to be able to buff someone up defensively. It can sometimes help a lot. Now obviously there's also the option to go Wrenching Massage, you know, especially with Mino, it can do 116 damage turn 1, might be a bit unexpected, but my Sconch is a bit more defensive. And plan here is to drop the enemy defense down. I can buff my allies. Savage is great, Exhaustion and just great damage, and Oshi is incredible damage as well, especially against melees and earths. So yeah, I do have some earth weaknesses here, so having something like Sconch, Oshi, Dashi, a Volfi for example, is incredible. Now, as you can see, most of my team is physical, so a perfect jab into a stone ball, into a base jump, you know, they can do a lot of damage. Now, usually my Ryken with Quetzal is faster, Minothor is faster, so usually my perfect jump will not go before these two, but I still like to get the defense down for later. Now with Tirerneck, I have mostly attack and stamina I didn't really put into defense, and I have HP, and I go Ember, Spark Shield, Outgrowth, Flaming, and I use Frightening, right? I like disabling gears, so if I disable the enemies, Refreshing Diablo, Fake Bird, quite useful, and I don't want to disable some key traits of mine, like Scavenger or Prideful, so I like to play it safe. Now, Embers is a low cost, you know, 63 damage, it doesn't do much. I know some people like Plague, but it uses a lot of stamina for my liking. Sharp Leaf is a good nature technique, much more stamina efficient, less damage. There are some people that run Meteor Swarm instead of Bark Shield. I do like the option to go with the Bark Shield setup defenses. Outgrowth is the signature move, it's a key move, it's AoE, it hits both enemies, it decreases their stamina so by 20%, and it traps them, so it's great utility. And Flaming is the most damaging technique you can do with Tirerneck, Flaming 145 damage. And overall, again, it's quite bulky, so it should stay long enough. Kinu. Now, Kinu was something that I used to run with Stonewall. This was changed recently, so I am running Lifeful Beta, Hypno, and Rebattles. Now, I'm not sure about Lifeful anymore without Stonewall. We could go for a resin trap if I wanted a nature technique that traps. So that is something I am considering. As for TVs, I went very little in special attack. I know, you might need more special attack if you want to one-shot a Sconch. But otherwise, I just went full defense and full HP to try and stay and, a bit of stamina. So I can stay in using Hypnosis, gain a bit of turn, revitalize my ally, and its benefactor. So if the ally is being hit, they regen 8% health. Ryken, I went for 69 stamina. It's not really a perfect calculation, it's just what it is. Its special defense is also invested a tiny bit, mostly HP and a decent chunk in attack. I go with Ketsa and Meteor Swarm, Gaia and Heldanger. Heldanger with 160 does tiny bit more than Ketsa without synergy. Obviously there's Stab and Temtem, so you can calculate 105 times 1.5, which if I do that very quickly, it gives 157.5, so Heldanger does a tiny bit more, but at a much lower stamina. It's also good into Earths, into Tulken, so it's a good alternative. Gaia restores all the stamina, gives me HP, and with Sweatband I can usually stay in enough for the 4th turn Gaia. With Prideful, whenever you get a knockout, you get attack and speed buff, so you can pretty much snowball with Ryken, and this is my main carry. So, as you might see, I have a bit of buffer, so I have Koran, I have Kinu, although it no longer buffs, but it heals. We have Scale that can lower the defenses, it can Stonewall. Tirerneck can Stone Shield, it has the Refreshing Diablo. So there are multiple options for me to kind of stack Ryken. Although, again, Ryken is not my only carry. I do run Marbles on Kinu, I did not mention. This has been nerfed, but it's still, enemies lose 10% of stamina and 5% HP whenever they switch in. The next stem is Koran. I run a lot of stamina. It is stamina heavy, especially with Stoneball. HP and attack, and some special defense. It is quite bulky defensively already. My main moveset is this. Stoneball is good heavy damage into the fires, for example. Willpower Drain, it just steals stamina. Again, it's not too much, but if someone is low stamina, it kind of gives you that tempo. Stonewall to buff allies, and Psychosis to Doom. It's pretty good against bulky tems that you can't kill. And we have Scavenger, restore 7% max HP. So sometimes Koran can stay up, tank up, and get some really good hits and dooms. I also run it with Mom's Lunch, so I can swap it in, put Exhaust into all the enemies, and that's pretty much, helps with the willpower drain. Exhaust the enemies gives me time to buff up my allies. The 6th stem is Bish I'm a Cow, which is Minothor. I do run it with Taser. Currently I run Sparkling, Purgation, Haste Launch, and Black Hole. As I said, I have synergies for both Sparkling Bullet with Sconch and Vangs, and Hasty Lunge with Kinu and Tirerneck. Purgation now is being lowered to 1 priority, so I'm not really sure how it feels, but it can stack up to attack buffs now, so that's great for most of my team. And Black Hole, both with Volfi and Koran, can reset the enemy stages, so that's a good option. It's a good mental technique. As for TVs, I run mostly HP, a good amount of attack, and a little bit of stamina and defense. And with the Rusher proc, we usually get a good enough speed. Again, it's quite slow, so actually you don't expect to outspeed, because I just went full on HP. But it does live more hits, because I like playing bulk. That's just my thing. Now, Volfi, I do run with Kaleidoscope. So when I use a positive status condition, it removes 1 turn and moves into the ally. Now, this is quite interesting. I do run Lifeful Sap, so it gives 4 regen to the ally. I do run Barrow, which gives 3 evade to the ally, and then I finish off with Plague and Dust Vortex. Now, interesting to note, because Frightening disables gear, if I have Volfi and Tirerneck, then I can use Lifeful Sap on Volfi. Now, as for bulk, I do go for a lot of HP. It's still not a lot of HP. It's HP base that is a bit poor. I go for enough stamina for the 81 for more stamina regen, some defense, to even it up a bit, and, a decent investment in special attack. Again, it's not too heavy, so it allows me to use the support techniques, but also be offensive when needed, and it's team elusive, which is the standard. Now, lastly, I have a War Drum Rappy called Vangs. So the War Drum boosts the physical attacks for most of my team. It has good investment in stamina to, stay in the field as much as possible. I have a lot of HP and then the rest in attack. Again, not too much. It is generally bulky in defense already automatically. And I run Strangle, so I can use this to prevent the enemy from attacking next turn. I use Base Jump, consistent heavy damage. This was a bit nerfed. You can use Head Ram if you want to conserve a bit more stamina, but it is less prio. So, it's a give or take. Savage Suplex, it's a strong technique. Some people do run Ninja Jutsu. I don't have speed. I do like Sacrifice as an alternative supportive option. I mean, Untangle, very rare, but it can be cheesy. You can use Shelter if you want to tank up, but I don't really see Rappy kind of stacking up like that. But actually, if I think about it, kind of having Head Ram can allow you more easily to set up a Purgation into a Head Ram, for example. So if you want that kind of combination, I think that's quite possible. With 150 speed, it's already very slow. So it might be worth going for Head Ram instead and investing less stamina and more attack, or a bit more defenses. So there is that option. I think that's a good idea actually, so I might do that eventually. Now, both Arcane Wrap and Prayer are good traits, so it's depends up to your preference. Personally, if I look at my team, I do have generally good physical defense, and I have Stone Walls, so I feel like having Arcane Wrap and a bit more special defense oriented Vangs helps me out even out my team. So that's mostly it. As for playstyle, you can see the Archtamer video of how I played these, how I do the pick ban. I do like to rely on Ryken, but sometimes picking it first is a bit of a bait. If they have no mentals, Sconch is a good first pick. Getting, a couple of perfect jabs out. Mino is a good first pick, preventing some of the waters. So is Volfi. So both Volfi and Mino can cover something like Yukama, Whiplump, that Ryken does not like. There are some Tems I do struggle with a lot. For example, Golzi, because Golzi is melee, it beats Koran, it beats Volfi, and I don't really have anything too good into it. I also struggle against Platimus. Platimus, I don't like water in general because of Ryken and Koran. The thing is, our natures don't really do well into Platimus. We do have the Minothor with electric, but again, it's usually doesn't cut it, because usually they have an ally like it could be a crystal or something, or Minothor gets itself banned a lot. So there's not much I can do to Platimus, which is why I like to ban it. Although something like Arcane Wrap can definitely help me out. Also, I pretty much just like Tolkien again. If Minothor is banned, I don't really have good damage into it, so I have to rely on stuff like Perfect Jab, Base Jump, and with its burns, it's something I don't really deal well with. I hope you find this video helpful, informative. This is again a very unique playstyle. Most people that I know run more speed, more attack, more aggressive, or rather more bulk. I like playing a bit more mid-range. I've been running this team for pretty much 3-4 months. So yeah, I'm pretty confident in it. Now, the next team I'm trying out and eyeing out is a perfect Luma team. I'll be trying to, sweeten it. It doesn't definitely has some weaknesses, but hopefully in the coming weeks you'll see something more interesting. Well, I do thank you for watching and wish you all a good day. Bye bye.